so many albums to review and so little time to do it in, I don't always give the right score. It's all subjective after all. Some albums you love immediately. Some you initially dislike, but after a few listens become your favourite albums of all time. Some you love immediately and then realise they were just hollow, like people. Some are affected by your current circumstances. Nothing like a lot of drama going on in your life to take your mind off music. Here's a list of albums that I've reviewed this year that I've negatively or positively reconsidered. Okay, very brief video today. This is just a list of albums that I've reconsidered. Basically albums that I've given scores to that afterwards I've kind of thought maybe they should be lower, maybe they should be higher. First up is Uncle Acid and the Deadbeats and their Wasteland album. I originally gave this a 7 out of 10 and I'd actually like to give it an extra point. I'd like to boost that up to an 8 out of 10. I've listened to this album a fair few times since the review and it kind of gets better with each and every listen. First of all, I didn't think it was bringing much new to the table. It was just that kind of traditional Uncle Acid and the Deadbeat sound, which it is. But I just genuinely enjoy the album. I think it's a really solid effort and I love the concept of it. And yeah, just an enjoyable album. So I'd like to boost that up to an 8 out of 10. Another one that I'd like to boost up is The Prodigy with No Tourists. I think I originally gave this a 7 out of 10 as well. But again, I'd like to boost this up to 8 out of 10. I've just really enjoyed the album the more and more I've listened to it. It's got such a live feel to it. I could really imagine this stuff going down really well live. People seem to love this album, or they just kind of say it's generic Prodigy. I personally really enjoy it. And I'd like now to give it an 8 out of 10, which I will. Okay, now for one that I'm going to take down the score. And that was Disturbed with Evolution. Another one I gave a 7 out of 10 to, and I would like to take this down to a 6 out of 10. I still actually think there's a lot of good stuff on this and it's nowhere near as bad, Make It Out. But there's no denying I'm a sucker for the positive, life-affirming lyric, and that definitely swayed my decision. I kind of like where the band are coming from with it, but on further listens, it's got less re-listen appeal than I would have initially thought. So yeah, I'd like to take a point off for this one. Disturbed Evolution down to a 6 out of 10. Now to a quite controversial one, and a lot of you will be unfamiliar with this one, my review of this one, for reasons I will now go into. Phil Anselmo and the Illegals, Choosing Mental Illness as a Virtue. I was really scathing of this album, really scathing. And in fact, this is the only video I've ever done that I've taken down. I got a lot of hate for this video, but that's not the reason I took it down. I got quite sidetracked by the Dime Bash incident, and I judged Phil very harshly. And I didn't judge the album, I was judging the man. A lot of the lyrics from this album seem like such a direct reflection of what went on at Dime Bash and the subsequent tirade of accusations that followed. And it seemed like Phil was taking no responsibility or accountability for his actions until one commenter actually pointed out that the album was actually written and recorded before Dime Bash happened, which was quite a glaring error on my part. And because of that, I ended up taking the review down. Now it has to be said that I had a bad feeling about that review immediately. I didn't enjoy writing it, I didn't enjoy filming it, and I got to admit I was trying to be quite controversial with it, and it was definitely done in a way that is not really similar to the rest of my videos. And even as I hit the upload button, I kind of had a feeling it's like I shouldn't have put this out there. So I ended up taking the video down, primarily because I made such a big error with when it was recorded that I couldn't defend it anymore. The album itself is actually very good. and I would give it an 8 out of 10. It's heavy as hell, it really is. I've listened to it a few times now over the year, and it does actually get more and more enjoyable the more you listen to it. Kind of sounded like a bit of a mess at first, but there's genuinely a lot of good stuff going on in this. As a reviewer, I should be concentrating on the music first and foremost. I'd also like to add, before I move on, what a joy it is to see Phil in such good shape again now. I mean, he looks better than he has done in years. He even looks sort of better than he did in the early days of Pantera. He's lost a phenomenal amount of weight. He's looking really in fighting shape, and it's a joy to see, because when I was younger, this guy really was an idol to me. And he still is in some ways, I guess. It's Phil Anselmo, for God's sake, he's a legend. It's a joy hearing him talk as well. He seems so coherent now as well. I think that was the biggest disappointment in Dime Bash as well, just seeing the shape of the man and just that slovenly drunk. But yeah, good on you, Phil. I'd love nothing more than to be proud of you again. And it's great to see you getting back into shape and really putting yourself out there again. Next reconsideration, Godsmack, When Legends Rise. I initially gave this a 5 out of 10. I'd like to take that down to 4. I'm not going to justify it much more than that. It really is a lackluster album. Never been a huge Godsmack fan, but yeah, this album was just generic as all hell. 4 out of 10. Next one would be Spiritualized and Nothing Hurt, which I originally gave a 7 out of 10. Again, another one that I've given subsequent listens to. It doesn't keep your attention that much, so I'd like to take this one down to a 6 out of 10. And the last on my list is Slash featuring Miles Kennedy and the Conspirators. I actually enjoyed this album a lot. I thought there's some really good stuff on it, but again, I've given it some more listens. I originally gave this an 8 out of 10, which is a pretty good score, and I'd probably take that down to 7 out of 10. Sorry, Ian. Again, some great stuff, but yeah, I'll probably take it down to a 7 out of 10. One thing doing this video kind of made me realise was that I maybe need to be a bit more scathing with my scores. I'm generally quite positive and give, you know, I kind of give people a lot of rope. Maybe I need to be a bit more on it with that sort of thing, because there's a lot of albums I've listened to that just kind of maybe haven't held up as much as I thought they do. The difficulty with doing this stuff sometimes is that you've got limited time to get the review done when it's still relevant. The longer you leave it, the less likely people are to watch it. So you've kind of got a sweet spot, a bit of a window where you need to get the review done. Sometimes you get it on the money, other times you just got to make a call at the time. But anyway, I've fucking gone on. God, Jesus Christ, Ben, get on with it. Next video will be for albums of 2018 that I missed, but I still think are worth checking out. I'll be back then, tomorrow that being.